Well, that was a bit preemptive. Sorry, chat. Sorry, I got a bit excited there. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I'm sure. Oh, I'm just gonna give me a second. Yeah, we're just gonna. All right, nothing broke. I swear, nothing broke. It totally wasn't. Everything was broken, and I forgot to turn on my camera, because who would forget to turn on the camera, right? Not me. I didn't at all break the illusion. Hello, ho. How is everyone? Do you know there's people thinking about Christmas already? Do you know there's people thinking about Christmas already? I talked to somebody and they're like, oh, right, it's Prime Day today. I forgot about that. Yeah, so, yes, some people are thinking about Christmas already. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not getting anybody any gifts. I am broke. I'm about to drop, 8K on a model eventually. So yeah, Christmas is definitely not something I'm considering. You had a Christmassy debate in Gen Chat? Why was there a debate about Christmas in Gen Chat? What were y'all talking about, huh? Tell me about it. What happened? What did I miss? Let's see if any food is on sale, actually, now that we're here. It was about the Grinch. What about the Grinch? No, come on, there has to be something, like, unique about the Grinch. Anything fun about the Grinch? Okay, what do you disagree about the Grinch? No, come on, give me the insight. I want to know. You're pro-Grinch in what fashion? In what fashion, Huh. I mean, at what level? At what level are we talking? We talking about, like, pre? Fine. We don't have to argue this. I'm kind of curious now, but you know, I kind of want to get a TV. How much is a TV? I don't have money for a TV. What am I doing? How much is a TV? I don't need a TV, chat. I don't need a TV. I'm fine. Anyways, chat. You ready? Keep walking. Keep going. There we are. So I just really don't feel that comfortable with the outside of a cage, honestly. You might run away, and not really my thing letting you run away like that. Look, chat. If I leave you out of the cage, you're going to run. You're like one of those little cats, dogs. I don't know. You know, one of those dogs that, like, secretly wants to be an explorer but really has no ability to survive anywhere and should be kept inside at all points in time? Chat, that's you. You are the silly little dog who's no. You're silly little. You're not an explorer. You're gonna be eaten by a bird. There's gonna be a hawk, chat. There's gonna be a hawk. It's gonna come out of nowhere, and it's gonna grab you. And then what am I supposed to do, huh? Then I have no chat, and I want chat. You know, I need a chat. So yeah, No, just it's K. It's K. You got something important? You can say the important thing in the cage, okay? Yeah, no, but chat's not Great Danes. Okay, everybody, we're gonna let Pink out exclusively so they can say their important thing, okay? Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm back. I got lost there. Oh, you have really? That's hey! Really? First off, congratulations, Pink. Congratulations. That's amazing. Chat, I gave you one thing, okay? I told you to do one thing. It also made me realize something, that if I tie the move button to this, and it's also the reset button, it's going to break things. So, I can't do that. No escaping, chat. Stop. Addie, I'm glad you stayed. I'm glad at least somebody stayed. I'm super proud of you, Pink. I don't know why it took them so long to verify you. I mean, like, clearly you're a great artist. I'm glad some of you have stayed. All right, let me do my little thing, the thing I do every day. You ready? We're going to go through everybody. All right, so we have, thank you, first off, Dwarf for checking in first, for being the first. Thank you, Ocean, for being second. And Aiko, congratulations on being third. Now, fine, you can go get it. You can go get it. All right, thank you. Aiko for the check-in, Ocean for the check-in, and Dwarf for the check-in. Nap time, hi Addie. Hi Gangsta Neeks, hi Pink, hi Full Metal Brook. Hello Crucified, hello Echo, hello Carmia, hello Zebra. Thank you all for checking in. You know, I really appreciate it every time you check in. Also, Gene, you can check our chat. I have updated all. I'll be right back, Jack. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Oh, while I'm gone? You thought. Oh. Ooh, look at that little cutie. Look at that little cutie. I love him so very, very much. Adorable. No, chat, you're not allowed to see yet. You're not allowed to see. I'm sorry. I am sorry. All right, well, let me get back on. Let me come back. It's a secret, chat. It's a secret. You'll get to see later. No, you'll get to see later, okay? Like, right now, it's important that I am the one who gets to see. Because guess what, chat? It's mine. I like it, though. I like it a lot. It looks really good. Can I see? No. No one can see. No, not allowed. You know, I'm going to shake the cage. We're going to shake the cage a little bit. It's fine. It's going to shake the cage. You're fine in there. Just shake a little bit. Here, you know what? We got to make it faster. There we go. That's better. No. Shake the cage. Okay. Just kidding. We're going to shake you a little bit more. Look at you shaking. Okay, we're good. Just a little shake. Okay. How's everybody feeling? Everybody's stomach okay? Huh? You all doing okay? Here, go back in your corner. All right. Good chat. You threw up. Oh. Well. I'm not buying you more food. Chat. You had all the food that you were going to get. Anyways, I guess we'll go to the other one. 1 second. Whoop. It didn't work. There it is. Hi, chat. So anyways, plans for today. You know what we're doing? You do know what we're doing today, right? I mean, we've been doing the same thing every day. So at this point, it should be obvious. Karma. Exact. Everything went weird. Yes, we're playing Karma. We're doing Karma, the Dark World. A lot of fun game. Reminder, I do have, yes, actually. What are we going to do tonight, Brain? Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try and take over the world. So yes, tonight I'm going to have to be ending stream at like exactly 6 because I have 4 hours to finish my submission for, I hope it's 4 hours. I got to make sure. I hope I didn't miss the deadline. Huh. You know what? I'm going to check it out real quick. I'm in a voice acting competition, and I hope I still have time to submit it. Okay, well, round 1 submissions close at night. 11:59. Okay, so after stream, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish. I have about 5 hours to finish my submission. We're going to see how well I do, but I'm excited. And then we have, I'm going to be working on the song covers, Oogie Boogie song, and we're going to be working on... Chat, what's the other song I'm doing? Kitty. No, I'm not doing a kitty. What do you mean? Not voice acting gig, voice acting competition. Phantom of the Opera! Yes, we're doing Phantom of the Opera. Also, I still need to finish a TikTok for today. So, do you know how many hours I have? None. I have no hours, chat. It's, I'm so dumb. Why do I do this to myself? I had days to work on these things, and I didn't. I blame you, chat. Take the blame. Take the blame for me. Let me blame you. Let me blame you. Chat, take blame. Chat, take blame. Take the blame. Which one of you is taking the blame? I will sacrifice you in front of everybody, but it's okay. So, who wants to take the blame? Come on. Thank you, Addie. Perfect. Okay, we are going to be sacrificing Addie. Yes. Yes, Addie. We'll have to. Don't eat the blame. Echo. You can't eat the blame. Yeah, so Echo ate the blame. No sacrifice today. Dang, I was looking forward to that one too. Y'all are no fun. Why don't I get to sacrifice anybody, huh? That's why I leave you in the cage. Disappointing. Disappointing, honestly. Oh, well. Oh. You think we're going to find a virgin here, honestly? Chat, raise your hand if you're a virgin. Right now. Raise your hand if you're a virgin. I'm ready for it. Bullshit. You lie. You lie. I know you two lie. You three lie. What do you can't... Y'all have kids. How is that happening? Wow. Goofy. Oh yeah? Yeah, is that how that happened? Just I stole them. I am the one. Don't need a gun. Up on these streets to get I messed it up, chat. Okay, so we can't sacrifice nap time though. It's legally required. I guess. I don't need to define it. I was a bad question to ask, chat. I take it back. Okay, so Karma today gonna be fantastic. Other games also good. Not other games. We're only playing the one game. And no sacrifice today, chat. And my brain is fried. So we're just going to play, okay? Well, no, they ate the blame, so I can't sacrifice you, Eddie. Hi, Jupiter. Oh, that's another thing. Poetry redeems. So, chat, poetry redeems. There are going to be poetry redeems and morning streams. So they're not going to be in all streams. But there will be, I forgot to put this in, TTS redeems in evening streams that are going to be more chaotic and stuff. So I'm going to have some alternating stuff. We're going to still be playing Karma the Dark World. I'm excited. But yeah, the Dark World. Apparently there's only 3 viewers right there, so we are going to be the majority of the viewers for this game. All right, chat? You ready? I don't know how many people are here right now, but you all get to dominate a category with me. Guess what, chat? We're going to be at the top of that board. If anybody looks at this game, it's going to be just me. Yes, it is Jupiter. Ha. Well. Okay, so we are doing this now. Got it. Understood. So. You all, behave yourselves. Look at me. Hello. Mwah. Give me a kiss. Haha. Kissed you. Get wrecked, nerds. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? All right, where are we going? Desco. What is this? Hello? Pizza, Titan, Ultra. That's such a weird game. No, it doesn't matter. Anyways. Stranger danger. I am no stranger. What do you mean? Why would I be a stranger? You're cute? I am very cute. Thank you. Don't worry, I will not be doing the clicker. I will probably just go get to the clicker. I realized it might have been a little bit much. What was the redeem? Okay, let me go take a look. Well, I'm such a good doggy. Say, you happy? I'm a random anime boy from Galro. It's true facts, chat. It's true facts. It is actually real. But, you know, honestly, though, is that so strange? I'm glad your kiddo likes it, Sniffer. Nope, chat smells okay now. You smell good for right now, chat. But you don't you... Ah! Sorry, you don't hear it yet. 1 sec. Oh, Jesus, what is this? Oh, wait, do you remember this? Oh no, chat. Oh no, chat. Oh no. Wait, what did you break? I broke nothing. What do you mean? Why would you think I broke anything, huh? Why would you think I broke anything? Tell me. So I'm already very focused. Also, hello, Red Moon. Good to see you. How you doing? Huh? This is super intense. I'm a little scared, actually. There she is. Oh, this is awful. This is absolutely awful. Ah! Oh, sorry. I wanted to tell you. Guess what happened? Guess what came in? Guess what came in today, chat? Sorry. You want to know what's also intense? What is intense? These nuts. I hate you! Zakala? That's okay. That's okay, Spicy Noon. you have a good one. Bye-bye. Hey, lovely. Goodbye. All right, so what was I saying? Right, the shock collar. Guess what the shock collars come in. So yes, the shock collar has come in, and so we can do the ASMR horror. We're going to do this thing for whenever I scream. Yeah. Oh, wait, so she can't stab me when I'm like this, right? I'm so confused. Yeah. You know you want to watch TV. Come on, watch TV. Okay, wait. So we go all the way around. But yes, so whenever... Right now I don't know. I'm trying to get her to... I'm trying to get her to get to the TV. But she refuses to go to the TVs. Ah, jeez. She always goes the opposite direction so far. But yes. The shock is going to be a lot of fun. I think Fatal Frame might be actually a good choice for this game. Or maybe we do like Five Nights at Freddy's. Honestly, though, Five Nights at Freddy's is more stressful than it is scary, you know? This is going to be... Yeah, like, I don't really find Five Nights at Freddy's that scary of a game. I played it the one time. And, like, really, I just got stressed out when I was not scared. It was like a job. Go watch the TV, come on. There we go. Okay. I think I have this one. There's the TV, okay. Oh, interesting. Come on, got this. Ooh, thank you. Bring me some tacos. Come on, girlie. You got this. Come on. You know you want to look at yourself. Look at the pretty. Come on. Hello, sweet Yugi. How you doing? Keep your eyes closed, 3. Got it! We did it, chat. We killed our mother. Congratulations! You've killed your mother! Proud of you.
Why are you loyal to Leviathan?
Yeah, hold my hand. Wait, I put it over here? You can grab it. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's not die. Oh! What? Did I? What? Mom! She had to make me kill my mom. That's crazy. That's insane.
Psycho! Do you realize what you've done? You killed your own mother!
No, it wasn't real. I have no memory
That's fair.
of that
That's
woman.
fair.
She's not my mother.
Pathetic! Look at your tears, you ignorant worshipper of Leviathan!
I won't be fooled again.
Oh.
Get out of my head,
Fuck off.
Rachel. Now, it's time for me to look at your memories.
Nom 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 nom. Caca. Hump. It was all a scene. But this is real. That is real. Crackers! Taco Tuesday? Actually, for me, it was Curry Tuesday. I made curry. I made a really good chicken curry, chat. Lovely little voidlings. My little voidlings. I made curry today, and it was very good. And it was lazy. I made it in like 30, 40 minutes, maybe. Yeah. It looked good, right? Fried rice Tuesday. It can be any Tuesday that you want it to be. That's how it works. You're legally allowed to have any Tuesday you want. So it has to start with a T, so you have to figure out it. The curry. There you go. I had pumpkin bread today, and I had a pumpkin oat pie. I don't subscribe to the whole, pumpkin thing for falls, but, some of it's good. Even though all of it's allspice and not pumpkin. Gib? No, it's my... Oh, camera. Oh, okay, so you got this to deal with. Woo.
There's no use trying to resist. Let go of those foolish delusions, Rachel.
No, you don't get it. You don't.
This is so cool. 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 What the heck? Look at this. Look at this. Cardboard. Cardboard house. Cardboard house. Cardboard house. Cardboard house. Oh. So interesting. So weird. You have no dessert? Oh, I'll make you some dessert, chat. What do y'all want for dessert? I think I have sugar, so I can... and I have flour. I have a variety of substances. So I can make a pretty bomb dessert. Actually, I can make wheat bread. Cookies? I could make cookies. I have cookies. Tiramisu? It'll take me a while. It'll take me a while. But I can definitely get there. Thank you for the bits! Because I would have to make cookies for the tiramisu. I think. Chat, my mouse died. My mouse is dead. Chat, my mouse. Chat, my mouse. My mouse, chat. Yes, my shot caller is here. Why'd your cat kill my mouse? What the heck? What cat? I'll stop going on still. I'm gonna eat gummy worms every stream. I hope you're ready for this. Whoa, what are you? You're freaky. What the demon is that? Okay, open the door. Wait, maybe. There's something here. I know there is. Where are you? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Found you. Wait a second. That line up here. Well, you and I'm so sorry. Oh. Well, hopefully I don't disappoint you too much. Now remember, mine is based off of other people that I've heard in my family, so that's the best I can do. Alright, let's see if we can get this one now. Come here, sweetie. There. Oh, not yet. Oh, what a pretty little eye you have. There it is.
Put that lousy camera away. You can't use that here. It can't be used.
No. Whoa. Now, who's this? What you got going on in here? Interesting. Oh, wait a second. The room's different. The room changed. Did y'all notice that? Well, it's just me noticing it. I've made your night. I mean, you can't glad I could do that. Always happy to do that. Yeah, y'all noticed the room changed. Interesting. Daggum. What are you saying daggum for? No, that ain't right. This one here. Oh, there it is. 517. All right, she received a call from some institute today, but as long as she don't receive an offer of employment, there's no way for her to leave me. Oh, whoa. Now that ain't good. That ain't good. That is an abusive husband. All right, let's try that 517. I'm glad you're loving it. Oh, ain't no way I gotta do this whole thing. Come on, please at least go a little bit fast. There we go. 5. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Good afternoon, Miss Vise. I'm from the Winston Research Institute. We've sent many letters to your home address, but have yet to receive a response. Should we take it to mean that you decline our offer?
No, that's what I've always wanted. Forgive me, but could they have been sent to the wrong address? I haven't received a single letter from you.
Do not question us. If you found one of the letters, sign it and send it back to us. However, if you continue to fail to respond, it will be taken to mean that you decline our offer. As spaces are limited, prompt responses are necessary.
That's crazy. That is crazy. All right. What's the next one? What is going on with this thing? Girl, I do not understand this. There's something we're missing here. Military dependent talent. Interesting. All right. You know what I think it is, chat? I don't know if it's one guy or multiple. This looks like a father figure or something.
Stay. You're not to leave. Another one. I'm close to bursting.
Well, damn. Something happening there, all right. Oh, is it this one? That looks right. You ready, chat? I know without their consent, she started becoming adept at entertaining. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. She started to become an adept at entertaining men. In another 2 months' time, should be able to please the big shots. I'll add more of the guest list starting tomorrow. She needs more practice so that she can comfortably entertain the VIPs. Are you what? $7.31. Her dad. Maybe need 7. I said 7:31, right? Wait. Yeah. There it is. It didn't let me go because I was going too quickly over it. Yeah, this is Rachel's memories. Or at least something to do with Rachel.
I can't be free. Even my body doesn't belong to me. Why must it be like this? You're all blood-sucking monsters.
Let's see how far she is along with her chores.
All right. I heard that your business is thriving, but some of the big shots have complained to me that your place is too far away from the city center. That's why I find you a new, more central location. Contact me when you relocate. You're kidding. You're kidding. What? God, this is... That poor thing. That absolutely poor little thing. We're getting for you that application of veteran subsidy has been rejected. You won the war for the company as a soldier. And for that, we express your gratitude. However, we believe that the subsidy should not be solely based on past contributions. Instead, as most means of reward current efforts. We encourage everyone to keep up the hard work for facilitating the company's progress. We hope you understand our position. If you make any other inquiries or concern, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we will try our best to address them. Thank you for understanding. Damn. My God. Yeah, no, we can set this on fire. We can. Yeah. And this is a pink room. This is. Oh. No, they're trailing out the door. They're waiting in line. Damn.
What are you crying for? It's already done. It was as easy as I said it would be. If you're not happy, take some meds and you'll feel better. Don't finish them all, though.
Wow. Wow. All right. Business is booming since we relocated. There's been more talk about neighbors recently, but I need to keep my cool. My reputation is nothing, but if the big shots are implicated, I won't be able to pay my bills. 1969. 1969. 30th. Wait. Oh no. That means that she had her job stolen from her, the chance at a job stolen from her. So this could happen. Wow.
So you've been at home all this time making this?
What?
I mean, the money I spend and the things you do. Always at home. The home you grew up in.
Oh, no. There's another place. It's more colourful there.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I should ask your parents to take me to that place. It'll be a lot more interesting, wouldn't it?
Well, that's horrifying.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's absolutely horrifying. And we're back to normal voice. Hello, hello. Chat, I get stuck like that for a while. Oh. Okay. Oh, yeah, ick vibes are strong. Ick vibes are massive right now.
She dresses like this every night. You know what she does, right?
I heard her family just brought a new TV. She must be raking in the dough.
Hey, sexy. How much you charge?
I saw our department chief following her mum down there.
This is freaking wild. Department chief. Guess this is it. Not that one. Ooh, box. No, I think the mom is in on it. Because we saw both the hands saying that she couldn't leave. Okay, help me with this one. So, okay. Oh, what? How is this? Oh, okay. They all look connected. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Any thoughts, chat? Okay, we have that. And that. And that. I ain't got a single clue. I have not got a single clue. I feel like this should make sense, though. Right? Green? Why green? Why are you thinking green? Because the bottom one, it just doesn't make any sense. You got any idea, Moon? You think green fits? All right, chat. You sure? You sure this is what you want to do? You sure you want to make it green? Nope. And now it's locked forever. Damn. Damn, chat. Damn, chat. Can't believe you would do that. Damn, chat. We're never gonna... I'm kidding. You're fine. I had no clue. I didn't even have the slightest start of a clue. Does damn count as a swear, chat? Do I have to bark for that one? No, wait. like this should make sense. No? Okay, cool. Yes? Why does it count? Fine. There. I'm lost. Oh. Someone in a suit came by to deliver a letter for you. Insisted that you receive in person. According to regulations, I have to open a checked letter, for which I apologize. Sure, it'll be very good news for you, and I wish you all the best in the future. Reserve 108 as you instructed. Don't forget to take the key.
Yes, finally.
I'm not going to wear that thing all the time. We're only doing it for the event. Wow. Okay. It took her a year.
Finally, I can leave this.
Rachel, are you ready? Our guests are arriving soon. Why are you so quiet? What are you doing?
Her mother was in on it.
All honored guests, you better look your best, you hear?
Fuck this family.
I'm so proud of her. Go get it. Amazing. Honey bunch, jump. That would have been awful. Girl almost set herself on fire. Insane. But she didn't, so we're okay. It's getting PTSD.
I made an important decision for myself.
Oh, did you?
I'm going to run away from this place. From this home. Everything's so unfamiliar to me. I need to change myself and try to accept it.
Yeah, we'll wrap Gibbets in a fire blanket. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Ooh.
Try to accept this new world.
Ooh.
But this new world, it's more complex than I thought. I've noticed that everyone here is so busy. Everyone is so disciplined. Their faces are blank. But I should join them. Become one of them. That's what the company wants.
Interesting. What am I doing? Okay. Can I go down? I can go down. Okay, there we go. I just need to find a spot. Where's the spot? Come on. No, there's a spot for us somewhere. There it is. Ugh, it's gone. Okay, but it's going to be in this row, so we just need to wait for it. Got it. There it is. You're right. You see it? I see it. Ah, it's gone. Wait, why can't I? Okay, I can't get over there. I have to be in this one. Come on. Oh, geez. Okay. Wait. Down we go. There it is. Let me in. No, I want in. No. There's so many spots, actually. Come on. go? So hard for me to be straight. It's hard for me to be straight. You gay boy. I think if I do this. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. It's gotta stop eventually, right? Oh, there it is. Come on, come on, come on, come on. No, 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 back, 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 back. Ah! Let me in. This is impossible. This is impossible, chat. What if this is where we stop the game? Give me a little bit. Ah. Is there a down? Gotta be perfect. Wait, why can't I move? Come on, come on. I have no clue I'm going to do this. Actually, genuinely, I have no clue how I'm going to do this. But I think I can maybe do is hope to line up when it stops. And be at the right place at the right time. Maybe. But you have to be perfect. Yeah, I can't approach them. Controlling this is so difficult. Controlling this is so difficult. Like, I can't go down right now. I guess I'm kind of going down. Nope. Okay. There's got to be a way to do this. Wait. What if I go that direction? Interesting. Okay, we started up here, right? We started up here. I'm going to try a few buttons. This does nothing, 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 nothing. That goes left, that goes right, up, down. Q, E, tab, caps, shift. Oh, you're kidding me. I was supposed to press a button. I didn't press the button. I didn't realize I was supposed to press the button.
Everyone wants to be promoted. Everyone wants higher social status.
Hello,
higher
Black
floors.
Silver. How you doing?
It's the only way for us to do what we want to do. I'm lucky. But at the same time, I deserve it. Because I cherish this opportunity more than any of the others who didn't make the cut. Ever since I arrived here, the professor's been teaching me how to be a better scientist. I'm honored and surprised that he gave me the opportunity to study Dasein. So many extraordinary things can be created with Dasein. Space, time, even life itself.
Oh, they're feeding things to it. They're feeding things to it.
Dasein in vivo experiment 114 has failed. Subject BALBC lost vital signs 30 minutes after injection. Something's not right. 114 seems to be moving. It's running in an extremely bizarre manner.
Weird.
No, it got out of the quarantine pod.
Oh, ads? All right, let's take a little ad break, chat. We're going to take a little ad break. Chat, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means, chat? I think it's time for a dance break. It's been a while since we had a dance break, right? Dance break. We're going to do a dance break. Dance break. Dance break, dance break, dance break, dance break. You know who we got to listen to, right? You know the one person we can listen to. BB, no, money. BB, no, money. Let's go. All right, we're going to do... Oh, this is a new song. I haven't heard this one. I'm excited for this. Okay, let's do it. Oh, wait, this is all animated. Okay, chat, we're going to watch it together. Give me a second. All right, chat, dance break. You ready? 3, 2, 1. So all of that was made by real artists, which is what the intent behind the thing was. Yee. I think it's super fucking cool. That one was cool. That was cool. I like that. I like that. That was great. All right. Back to the... Hey, thank you for the follow. Let's see if you win. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2. No winner this time. Nice try. Nice try. Nice try. But yeah, that was all done. 22 animators did a bunch of cool stuff. I think it's very incredible. I think it's very incredible. I'm happy it was done. And of course, everyone got paid, which is always the best part. Where'd it go? Huh? Chat, I broke it again. How are you broken? I'm dumb. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry what happened, chat. It's fine. Don't call me dumb. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Back to the game, okay? Mwah. Kiss me. Oh, sorry. What were we doing?
Dassein's very existence is top secret. I must find 114.
Pro streamer thing? I'm an awful streamer, chat. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, chat. I'm an awful streamer. I'm not pro. I'm such a bad streamer, chat.
I rush out of the lab and search everywhere. I'm scared. I can't even begin to imagine the consequences.
Thank you for the hydrate.
Panic. I avoid looking people in the eye. I'm worried they might sense something's wrong. I'm afraid they'll find out. I'm worried they'll report me and terrified of what the company would do to me.
Ooh. Hello, Boku.
I'm going to fail. I'm going to sink deep into the darkness.
Thank you for the black nap
Go back to that
time.
filthy, exhausted body. But this time, I was wrong.
There it is. And yeah. Yeet. Yes. Huh. Here comes, ready? Wait, is this?
Where can it be? It was in this room just now.
Hi, are you Miss Weiss?
Look how pretty
Yes.
this is.
I am. Sorry, I'm busy with something extremely urgent right now.
Sorry to disturb you. You look really flustered. Anything I can do to help?
Flustered?
Mm-hmm.
No, but thanks for offering. I don't need anyone's help.
Hey, is this what you're looking for?
114! You found it! Sorry. You're right, I was all
No.
over the place just now, but thank you.
Hey,
She's gonna fall in
I
love,
feel
chat.
terrible whenever I go back to the
Little
lab.
void link. She's
See
gonna
the
fall in love.
flowers that were in full bloom the day before have all withered and died. But that's just the way it is. Don't beat yourself up. I'll help you catch the next one that gets away.
Thank you. By the way, what are you here for?
Sorry, I forgot to say there's a brand new reagent. Mr. Ebbert asked me to get it. By the way, I'm Lucas. I work on the botany lab.
Oh, so cute. So cute. He's gonna die. He's gonna die. He's gone. He's dead.
I thought he'd be like everyone else. Like all the people I've met before. Timid,
Oh, he's dead.
brief, always with a motive. They all came and they all left. He's different. Like a house that smells musty after the rain.
Dead.
But occasionally the sunlight shines on the porch and the breeze blows in, constantly trying to sneak into my life. Gradually, the house no longer smells musty, and the sunlight and breeze are still there.
Sorry to tell you, chap.
Lucas, where are we?
This is the only garden in the city.
I recognize that
Planted
name.
it with my assistants. Look, those are irises.
Da, da,
They used to
da.
be everywhere in the city, but you can't see them anymore.
It's a shame. So many people have never seen these flowers before. If it were possible, they'd fly high into the sky and sprinkle their seeds all over the city, everywhere.
Oh.
I believe those seeds would fall on the best soil
Have
doorsteps
fun,
of
Moxie.
everyone living in sadness.
I want to stand on the streets, watch as the seeds take root, and grow with them.
Wow.
I believe that when they bloom, people will experience beauty and warmth.
I think that when they bloom, people will definitely leave their jobs. They'll run out of the darkness and enjoy the flowers of freedom and victory together.
I believe, Miss Weiss. I believe every word you say. Whether it is then or now, I'll always be by your side.
No, no. Oh, no.
I try not to come into contact with him again. I'm worried that one day he'll be utterly disappointed.
I'm trying my best to find her again. I think maybe there are some hidden secrets between us.
Oh, wow. Wait, what if I...
Why do I think of him? Why do we continue to enjoy what we have now and imagine a future together?
I try to see her again. Try to spend every day with her. Try to imagine a future with her.
Okay.
But at that moment, I hesitated. Because he told me he has a plan for the future.
But in that moment, she stopped dead in her tracks. When I told her I have a plan for the future.
Leave this place.
Leave this city.
Leave this city.
Oh, no.
I don't dare dream of the future he talked about.
She doesn't want to respond to me about the future I talked about.
These endless feelings of guilt that have burdened me until now.
Why should I impose my path on her? It'll stop us from moving forward.
Perhaps
All
I should
this
try
is
again.
just me deceiving myself.
And break free from these shackles.
Letting her down.
No.
Rachel, I was wrong. You're like the flower of freedom. I shouldn't impose my future on you. Your future.
No!
It's up to you.
Hey, Lucas.
Come on, Rachel. You have a chance, Rachel. You have a chance.
still
Don't mess this up.
remember
Don't mess this up, Rachel. Come on.
what you said? You said you believe these seeds will fall on the best soil, on the doorsteps of everyone living in sadness.
Come on. No, don't you dare leave.
You believe that when they bloom, people will experience beauty and warmth.
Oh. Shall we recognize the name Luca, by the way? We do recognize the name Luca. Yeah. They bedoinked. They be canoodling, chat. Well, we know this story doesn't have a happy ending.
Only your existence is real. We'll disappear in the sands of time until the very last moments. No matter how the sands of time may ravage me,
Yep.
I belong only to you, because you, and only you, are eternal in my heart.
We've seen Luca before. The only happy stories are the ones that haven't finished. Which I don't believe. I don't believe that at all. There are happy stories out there. This, though, it's not one of them. Big hugs.
Rachel.
The fact that we can meet here is a sign that you do indeed have some potential. You saw it all, didn't you? My memories.
Hey, listen up. Rachel, we have to leave this place.
This mother that you all worship, has she made this city any better? If my father hadn't joined the war effort, if he hadn't been a part of Leviathan's attack on this city, he wouldn't be drowning himself in alcohol every day, and he wouldn't have ended up like this. Lucas wouldn't have...
The past cannot be changed. Now, Rachel, you have to take me out of this place and tell me who is the one behind all this.
Join us, Daniel. If you decide to join us, I'll take you to see the one behind all this. I believe in the Professor's plan.
Who is the Professor?
Only he can lead this city to a better
Interesting.
future.
What plan?
Say yes. Say you'll join us. Then I'll tell you. Yes. Yes. Say yes. Say yes. The Professor was wrong about you. Think hard and recall the dirty business you did for them. Don't move from that spot until you have.
Rachel! Mother! Rachel, come out!
She's mine. 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 Our daughter. She will never be free. Come closer, young man. You picked up my daughter's belongings. Give them to me. We will take you out of here.
Do I have any other option? Let's see if I have any other option. I have no other option. I don't want to do that. That's a woman's hand. That's a man's hand.
Walk straight ahead. I'm afraid. Keep going.
Insane. Wow. Oh. What? What is that? Oh.
I sense that man is still alive. Their hearts beat as well. Look up there. The hearts. Destroying the tubes, delivering sustenance. Put the hearts out.
Oh.
How did you get in here? Who helped you to escape?
Yep, there he is.
We've got him under control. The camera. You use that lousy camera of yours. Use it now. Aim for the middle of the fence.
Here we go. There it is. There's Luca. Where are they? Where are they? There they are. This is messed up. I don't know what we're doing, like, in her head. But jeez. Oh, hi. Hi, Moonflower. How you doing, Moonflower? There we go. Poke, poke. I will keep vaporizing the freaky thing just for you, Moonflower. I'll grab the heart. Give me the heart. Give me your heart.
Stop! I want to be with him!
Jeez. This is insane. Wait, where's the wardrobe? Am I crazy? It said follow the wardrobe, right? Huh? Oh, okay. I understand now. Come on, Luca. Come here, Luca. I'll be over soon. Oh, I like the hubby. All right, come get our heart. God, what does this mean? So I feel like what we're doing is we're severing her connection to Luca. And so obviously things are going to go south. But like, crazy. Yeah. And this is like her inner thoughts or something? Or maybe like an actual manifestation of something. Childhood. Oh boy. Her parents suck. I think I fell off. Oh, I get it. I know what I have to do. No, no, I didn't fall. I did not fall. You can't. Ah. Do you want baby boy? Oh, I got it. I got it. What? What? Wait, Moonflower, did you spill earlier and you didn't tell me? Why would you spill? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There it is. Got it. Why'd you spill water? There we go. Stinky chat. Stinky chat. Why do you stink? Chat, why do you stink now? What happened? What'd you do to make yourself smelly? One of you. What'd you do? Stinky, 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 stinky chat. No. Goofy. You got dunked in the yucky water. Oh, well, maybe you shouldn't have gotten dunked in the yucky water. Remove the heart. Kill it. Oh, how's boxing? Oh, that makes sense.
Is there no way to escape my parents?
No, there's not, honey. Not in this life. Oh, shoot. Okay. There we go. Okay, where are they? Where are you? Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Oh, I feel you, I feel you. All right. Last one. We didn't have to do it this way. She could have just let us out. Could have just told us, but no. Ooh, a gun.
You were her parents. And her demons inside.
How y'all doing, by the way? I want to check in on you. Do we do it? I guess I can. Guess I have to. That was a heart.
You have to hold on. Lucas, don't leave me.
Shift her on.
You promised me. Hang in there, Lucas. We're almost there. Hang on.
Rachel, let's go meet your parents. I'm sure our marriage will be even happier.
Oh, no way.
Is anyone there? Help me.
No way.
Somebody.
The dad did this.
I'll wait for the good news then. Who are you? What do you want?
I found you. You think you could take my precious daughter without paying? She's mine.
No.
This is my fault. It's all my fault. No. Father, listen to me. What are you doing? No.
Die.
Wow. That's crazy. That is so insane.
You once said you couldn't live in a world without me. Now I'm the one who can't live without him in my life. We're two souls in a single body. We'll never be apart again, Lucas.
It's all
Yeah.
over.
Hey, Nova. Good to see you. Hi.
I don't
Mwah.
have much time left. Truth is over there.
Right.
Please, let me be with him in our final moments.
All right.
Why does it have to be me?
Little lamb, there's really no difference between you and me.
What does it mean? 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 How much you want to bet he's going to say hi, Daniel? He's going to say hi, Daniel. It's the first words he's going to say. Watch. I'm calling. He's going to say hi, Daniel.
Professor, I have a request.
Damn it. Ah.
I want to transfer all of Lucas's remaining consciousness to me.
Lucas, he has lingered too long at the gate of
Ooh, I knew he was in on it.
death. How do you know if his consciousness is still in his body anyway? Huh? Over the years, your body has been paying the price every time you manipulate his body to feed and conduct experiments.
Professor, I can sense him. I know there's still a part of him suffering in that body.
Ooh, tea sounds lovely. Chad, do you want to make me
You
tea?
have a way, because you two are alike.
Mm-hmm.
You must know something beyond what science can do.
It's against the code of scientists. No, it's against the ethics of humanity.
Don't knock the tea over. Don't knock the tea over.
Your body might not be able to take it. This is no easy task.
Professor, I'm grateful to you.
Wait,
for
he's
giving
the
me chance
professor?
To realize my dream.
I thought the other guy's the professor.
I found the love of my life here. After what happened, you were the only one willing to help me and Lucas. I know you didn't do it purely out of kindness.
I'm so confused.
There's something you're trying to achieve. All these years, I've never questioned your secrets or your plans because I've always believed in the things you do. But
No, that can't be Lucas.
I don't have much time left.
No, Lucas is the giant monster.
I beg you, all I want is to be with him in my final moments. I'm a dying pawn. I'll do anything for you in return.
You'll do this for him?
Okay, that is the professor. We're right, chat. It's Professor. Professor.
Whatever the cost.
All right, then.
We got it. Professor. Oh no. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? No. What? She didn't have a son. What are you talking about, Neeks?
Welcome back, 8490. I have observed for a very long time and have yet to see any images of any memories of you and the suspect. Do you have anything to report?
Fred. Why does Fred have my photo?
8490. Please answer my question.
Rachel.
I'm confused.
Mother, please tell me the suspect's life signs.
Suspect Rachel Weiss, brain dead. 8490. Please answer my question.
Mother, everything is normal. Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
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 Hush, not a sound, no matter what happens.
Oh, here we go. Memory time. Memory time, chat.
Where are they? Where are the children?
Sir, I assure you, I really don't know what you're talking about.
This is a child's room. You cannot be trusted. How dare you lie to Leviathan? What's that behind you?
That's the professor. That's the professor. That was the professor. The professor's dad.
No, Daniel! Lisa!
The professor is my dad. That's why he has the weird white hair. Oh, shoot. Every act of creation is an act of destruction, Pablo Picasso. Did the he come back with the milk? No. He did not come back with the milk. Facade. Act 3. Act 3! We might have one more day of this game then. Let's go.
All of the clues are pointing to Fred Ebert. I must act quickly. The Thought Bureau will surely soon find out the fact that I came here to investigate on my own will.
I know, right, Chad? Okay. Fred. Interesting. Oh, yeah. What am I doing? 7 now. 1984. That's the guy. Oh, the plane fell. Oh, shoot. Okay. It's not going to be this, is it? Okay, no. Okay, 5. Wait, I don't get it. I'm so confused. Okay. Wait. I think I got it. Okay, ready? 1. And now 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4 is 2. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was that 3 or 2? No. Yeah. It was 5 though. Six, 7, 8, 9. 9, 5, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That can't be right. 11. That can't be right. What? Okay, no, I need to start over. Because this one is 2, 3, 4, 1. So do you think that's 1? Or 2? 2, 3. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here, nap time. I want to explain like what the puzzle is real quick. We figured this out. The first beeps are going to be the what place it is in, and then when it changes the tone, that is going to be separate. So this is going to be number 1. Number 1 is going to be, I don't know how many tones, but it seems like too many. So it's 1. So it's first place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it can't be 10. 11. So that has to be a 1 tone. It should count as 1. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think the first one's 8. And then number 2 is here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. The last one was 8, right? 8, 7. And that's one's going to be 1. 8, 7, 1. Oh, wait. This one's wrong. I messed this one up. No. Okay, 8, not 1. I was wrong. We're going to do this one again. 8, 7, 2, 3. So third place. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So 8, 7, 5. Shoot. Okay, so maybe 9, 8, 6, 2. 8, 7, 5, 2. No. So does that count as 2 times? Okay, wait. 1, 2. What do you mean the number's on the spines? There's no number on that spine. That was a different one. This just is 4. Wait. It better not be. Oh my god, that's gonna be. This is gonna annoy me if this is what it is. This is gonna annoy. Well, no, it can't be that. Okay, so this one would be 1. So this is 2. Well, sorry, this one is 4. So it's 2. 4 is 2. 4 is 2. 1 is 3. So 4, 1, 3. 4, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2, 3. No. Wait. Okay, this is 2, right? It's a 4. Oh, I messed up. Okay, it's 1, 4, 2, 3. 4, 1, 3, 2. I'm dumb. You think no, because that's too many dings. Okay, last one should be last one should be 2. So 1, 4, 3, 2. No, because it has to be about the noise. Okay, why have numbered spines at all, right? Numbered spines make sense. 4. 8, 7, 5, 3. There's too many noises. So if you go off of all the noises, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that one's fine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So both of these are 9, if we're going off just noises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8. So 2 9s and an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 9 9 8 5. And the place this would be 9. So 9. Oh, this is 1. So 8. 8 5 9 9. No. 9 9 8 5. 8 5 9 9. I don't think it's, I don't. Okay, because this. Let's look at the time on the clocks, okay? This right here, 2:35. 2:35. Okay. Well, you 3:05. I know it is. I'm figuring this out. 4:15. 4. 3. 2. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. 4, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8:40. Ah, no, that's not it. 1. 4. Oh, wait, that can't be it. Wait. Okay. 2:35, right? 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. So 7 times 5 is 35. So 3:35. So we gotta figure out what's on this clock. So what's on this clock? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 40, isn't it? So yeah, so this one, yeah, I know. So this needs to be 0140 because this one is the only clock without a time on it. So we need to figure out what the time is on this clock. Why 50? Hi, Addie, what's up? Wait. Why 50? Did I miscount? Neeks, did you cheat? Neeks, did you cheat? Okay, wait. No, it's not. It doesn't have to do with the fourth book. 'Cause I can't read on the fourth book. There's nothing to read on the fourth book. So it was on the clock. I know. Wait. Yeah, no, but okay. Cruzy, the fourth book, you press it in and it makes it make the tone. It makes the tone of the clock. That is the explanation. It's not the book that gives you the answer. It's the clock that gives you the answer. And so I'm trying to hear the tones right now in my head. Because that's why this clock has no label, because you're trying to match the tones. I must have miscounted. 8. Yeah. Okay, so the tone denoted 15. The tones are hours and minute. Well, yeah, no, but so there's the first tone. The first tone was the beep, which was 1. Got that. Perfect. And then afterwards... Oh, okay. So we just got lucky with this one. So it's the first one that the double sound is the do gives you 3 instead of do instead of it being its own tone. There we go. That makes sense. Okay. Moonflower. The solution is if you have do is the hour, do is the second place, like the first place of the numbers. And then the afterwards, the higher chime is the next place. Okay. Yeah. Chimes for times. Well, I mean, like, I was just counting it, but you couldn't just count it. You had to do more than just count it. The doo-doo means something different. I guess I would have to understand how the dings on a clock normally work. We're ignoring the corpse. Hello, dead boy. How's it like being dead? Thank you for the follow. How you doing? Under the direct guidance of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, Fred, interesting. Oh my God.
Damn. He's dead. I'm too late.
We know what that means, chat.
Must be the person behind all of this.
You know what that means. It is time. Behave yourself, Neeks. I can manage my own time. Thank you. I can go for another 3 hours if I wanted to. You want to fight me? You want to go? You want to go right now? Huh? Neeks, you want to fight me? You want to fight me? You want to go? You want to go? I'll get bigger. My hands get bigger. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, you know what? Neeks? Don't worry about that noise. It's fine. I don't need to make an Insta thing. Okay, you know what? There you go. That's where you're staying, Neeks. No, you're stuck. Live in your cell. Live in your cell. Pat, 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 pat. Enjoy yourself. That's where you live now. Yeah. That's where you live. Enjoy your cell time. It's an ad break. Lame. Well, it's going to be the end of stream anyways. Sorry, buddy. We're going to go find something to raid into. I'm sorry we're ending so rapidly and quickly. I'm getting run off of stream, apparently. I'm getting run off of stream because y'all hate me. So, who can I raid into? Who do we got? Who do we got? Yes. Okay. Perfect. 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 Don't ignore me for 2 days. Okay. You're not gonna do. Katsuke still going. Yeah. For those of you who haven't met the cat boy, let's greet the cat boy. You'll say hi for me, okay? Be kind. Be sweet. Be lovely. And I'll see you all next time, okay, sweeties? Mwah. 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 Oh, also, we gotta do this. All right, boom. There you go, there you go, there you go. Copy that, copy that. Love you all so very, 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 very much. I'm gonna go work on my voice acting submission now. Copy it. You ready? 5, 4,